There's one position in particular where the Raptors 905 are really going to be struggling this season, and it just got a whole lot worse. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody, to Amateur 905, the Raptors 905 content division of the Amateur Hour Production Network. You want Toronto Raptors content? Then check out my main channel, Amateur Sports, but here we're covering the G League affiliate Raptors 905. So, if you are a hardcore Raptors fan and you want to learn a little bit more about the Raptors 905, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and drop a like if you enjoyed this one along the way. But some unfortunate news. It's good news, but it's also bad news for the Raptors 905. Obviously, from a Raptors 905 perspective, your job is to develop players to get them to the NBA. Now, for Raptors fans, we want to see that development happen so that they can play for the Toronto Raptors in the NBA. But that's not always how it's going to work. And in this case, that is not how it's worked. A key player is heading to the NBA and no longer will be with the Raptors 905 for the time being. And that player is an important player, as I said, Branden Carlsen. So Branden Carlsen has had a pretty interesting journey as of right now. Branden Carlsen came into the NBA as an undrafted free agent this summer, 25-year-old out of Utah Ute, I think same as Jakob Poeltl, actually, just a little fun little fact. And in summer league he looked good. In preseason he looked decent, but ultimately the two-way spot that he was offered after the NBA draft, where he went undrafted, was taken away from him and instead given to Jamison Battle. Now, he was still signed to the Raptors 905 as an affiliate, has played 3 games so far this season for the Raptors 905, and we went through the roster in the previous video, and I'll just pull it up here. But in the first video we did on this channel, we talked about the roster and a lack of size overall. The Raptors 905 really only have 2 centers on their roster, one of which is Ulrich Chomche, who's still learning his game, still getting better, but a player I'm excited about. And the other player who is no longer listed here is Branden Carlsen. Nobody else on this team really provides any size except for, okay, Dylan Disu can give you some small ball center minutes, and maybe Quincy Guerrier, who can give you some small ball center minutes. But Branden Carlsen was a big factor for this team. Like, not only for his role, but his talent. Good rim protector, good floor spacer to have at 7 feet tall. But it makes sense why he's now headed to the NBA. The Oklahoma City Thunder are certainly in the midst of a center crisis. Isaiah Hartenstein was injured to start the season. They've been going with Chet Holmgren, who's great, but Chet Holmgren is going to be missing an extended period of time with injury. This is a bit of their fix for that center position for the time being. It's not a long-term contract situation, but Branden Carlsen is going to be away from the Raptors 905. So the good news about this is, well, listen, I love to see players get their opportunity, and Branden Carlsen now has his opportunity to play in the NBA with a really good team. Hopefully he gets some minutes. Hopefully he can kind of show them what he does. This is what I like about the G League. I like seeing the process these guys take on to get themselves to the next level, and certainly what we're now seeing with Branden Carlsen. The good news, though, is even though he signed with the Thunder, the Raptors 905 will still own his G League rights. So if at any point he's waived, so maybe when Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren come back, maybe he's waived, the Raptors 905 will still hold his G League rights. So if he does return to the G League, he will be back with the Raptors 905. That is good news. And Carlson's deal is non-guaranteed until mid-January, so it's completely possibly ends back up with the Raptors 905. But for the time being, it's going to be difficult for the Raptors 905 to navigate. Now, as I said, your kind of options, probably going to get a lot of Dylan Disu in that position. But I think the silver lining with this story here, and if you watch my first video on this channel, first of all, you can do that to get some more information about the roster as a whole. But probably the player I'm most excited to see with the 905, if you don't know, I'm going to be a media credential with the Raptors 905 this season. First in-person game I'll be covering is November 24th. But the player I'm most excited to see develop, get the reps in, is Oris Shamay, who is now the only center on the Raptors 905 roster. I'm not sure he's going to start, but definitely now, with a lack of competition for the position, we are really going to see some Oris Shamay minutes. So hopefully, first of all, he stays out of foul trouble, but this is his opportunity to take on a new level of development. This is the type of season with the Toronto Raptors NBA team in a rebuild stage where perhaps they can be a bit more ambitious with trying new guys out. And also, I mean, with the first year of your rebuild, you're looking for young guys like this to stick and to get better and to get themselves to the NBA level, to join your NBA team. So for Ulrich Chomche, who is on a two-way contract and can do the up and down ability by playing in the NBA and playing in the G League, this is a really good opportunity him for take the next steps of his career. And hopefully Branden Carlsen does return one day. And hopefully at that point, perhaps Ulrich Chomche knocking on that door to give him a little bit more competition for those minutes in the center spot. So the 905, who already I thought maybe weren't going to be ultimately fantastic this season, just got a little bit more difficult for them. Absolutely. And even though it means maybe some more minutes for Ulrich Chomche, there's still going to be problems, especially when you're playing against a more traditional big where, look, Chomche's young, very, very young. I think he's still 18. He's had a lot of foul trouble, fouled out of the previous game for the 905. Yeah, you're going to have trouble there, especially when you're sharing minutes between like probably Dylan Disu, who's 6'9", and Quincy Guerrier, who's 6'7", in those positions, or maybe a little bit of Vance Jackson, who actually got signed by the 905 today to replace Branden Carlsen on the roster. Not necessarily replace his role, replace his spot, but they had an open roster spot. They used it on Vance Jackson. And honestly, Quincy Guerrier will be doing a lot of FIBA duties with Canada as well, so he'll be missing games, which even adds a little bit more stress to the size on the team. So it might be tough this season, but hopefully some development pieces coming out of it. And I think the big one, who now has an even bigger chance to shine and show what he can do, is absolutely Ulrich Chomche. So as much as it's sad that Branden Carlsen is away from the 905 now, when one door closes, another one opens. And that door, it hopefully doesn't just open. Hopefully that door is completely burst through and knocked down by Oris Shamay taking on those extra minutes. So if you want to learn more about the Raptors 905 and keep up with the team a little bit more, make sure you subscribe to Amateur Hour 905. This is the new channel in the Amateur Hour Production Network for Raptors 905 content. But you want Toronto Raptors content? Make sure you subscribe to my main channel, Amateur Hour Sports. This is where we do our Raptors content. Subscribe to this channel, Amateur 905, as I said, for more Raptors content. And check out my stream clips and highlights channel for the best stream clips and highlights from the streams from this channel right here. Here's another video from the main channel you may enjoy, and that'll do it for me on Amateur 905. I'll see you again next time.